Good day, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic Wednesday. Mine was pretty long. So I got up, for the first time, I opened Planet Smoothie on my own. Things went pretty well. I didn't do a few things that most openers do, mostly just due to personal preference, but as soon as my help got there, she ran through and cleared it all out to what they're used to. Mostly just like keeping lids on things. Try to avoid cross-contamination. I don't mind taking the extra second to lift the lid, scoop it, and then another second to put it back down, because it keeps things more organized and things like that. But my helper was basically, as far as I know, as far as I've seen, seems to be the fastest smoothie maker we have. And so I switched out all my cards to the old ones, and I just took the register, and she did all the smoothies, and she seemed to want to do that. And so basically she was going so fast that I wasn't able to go back and help. She was finishing them almost as long as I was cashing them out, as fast as I was cashing them out. Mostly because when they paid with credit card, it takes forever, and when they put their information in to sign up for text and stuff and record their visits for loyalty visits, that takes a while too. So I got everything in place, finished everything, like checked dates and things like that, and then did the prep that we needed to do. And it came down to just, I left them in the state that they needed me to leave them in, and I came home, got some food, and had dinner here, and then we had some Mafia fun. It's been a long day. I say it's been a long day because I got up at 5:30, and it is now 2:10 a.m. But that doesn't matter when Mafia is happening. Just keep going, in the zone, having fun. So Jesse went again. He's been coming. Josh went to this one again. He missed the last one. Heather's been not a fan of Mafia. She likes to watch it, so I guess she is a fan of Mafia, technically. But she didn't really like to play it because she said she's not good at hiding her reaction as to whether or not she is in fact Mafia. Well, she found a way. She just put on her smile. Her smile that you see, if you see any pictures of her like on Facebook or whatever, typically that's the smile that she would do in those photos, selfies or pictures being taken of her. Like the one I see up on my shelf up here, where she's posing in her senior picture. Same smile, just looks at it, and I'm just like, I can't tell. Because she wouldn't say anything, she wouldn't confirm or deny anything, she'd just smile, and I'd be like, that's just her smile, I can't tell. She's put that face on. There's nothing giving away whether or not she's Mafia. Whereas Josh, who I can normally read pretty well, and I could for the most part tonight, he also seems to be getting better at hiding his tells, which is good, bad, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how Mafia plays out. I'm tired, I should be, it's been a long day. How Mafia plays out on Friday, where we're going to a different party, not hosted by my boss, like this one was. And it's a game night with Euchre and Mafia after that. So it'll probably be a smaller turnout, at least of the solid Mafia players, as far as that goes. And Euchre's a pretty fun game, so I figure I'll go to that, have some fun, play some Euchre, and then whenever they get to the Mafia, which I will be more than ready and eager to jump into, we'll do that. But it'll be a slightly different crowd, maybe. I mean, quite a bit of the crowd will be there, but there'll be others that weren't there today that maybe aren't normally at these parties. I don't know. Anyway, so we played, I don't even know how many games we played. It all blurred together. It started at 7, we left at like 1:15, because the last game went that long. The last game was really epic. Another game was really epic as well. There were two, I think we played 1, 2, 3, and then on the third game, I was the first one eliminated. Josh was Mafia, so everyone thought that he was Mafia, and he went after me. and he was Mafia, but he didn't go after me. He tried to go after someone else. But one of my other friends, who's one of the people that I see a definite tell with, and I'd mentioned this to her, and so she went after me right away because she didn't want me to give it away. And I never got a chance to talk to her about it because I immediately went outside and we started another game as quick as we could. It wasn't immediate, I guess, and then she left early and I never got a chance to actually talk to her about it. But yeah, she gunned for me because I could read and see her tell, I guess. Maybe she had other reasons, but that's the one that makes the most sense to me. So the first game was a small, unassuming one. The second game was as well. We played some more roles. I believe I was town in all of those instances. We went outside, and I got, what did I get? Cop. I got cop. And the other guy who was a cop was the guy who went after Josh after I was killed in the previous game. And what happened was we got to the point where we were investigating. We were picking people off. Like, they're Mafia. Yeah, okay, we got them. They're Mafia. Yeah, okay, we got them. And then the Yakuza struck, killing themselves and turning somebody. I didn't know who it was, but I was afraid that because my partner had come out as the cop, forcing the nurse to save him, but able to give valuable information and say, we checked him out. He started this from the very beginning, maybe a little too soon, but we checked him out. He's guilty, so we lynched him. Okay, we checked him out. He's innocent. All right, and then we checked Josh out, and I was thinking he was the arsonist because of how the direction moderator was speaking in, wasn't varying at all when she was talking to the arsonist, and so I'm like, Josh might be the arsonist. And so I'm thinking that, and so the night before. And so we wake up, we do whatever, we go to sleep, the Yakuza strikes. Only one person knows I'm a cop, and that's the other cop. And so we wake up together, which there are variations on the rules that's like one of the rules that aren't very clear as to whether or not when the Yakuza powers take over. Like, do you keep waking up and making them think that you're still your old role and you play the new role, but you don't actually have any power in your old role? Like, you can't give out a gun if you're a gunsmith or whatever, but you can wake up with the cop and try to change who they would suspect or whatever. I don't know. So it doesn't seem to. And then other people are like, no, they just keep playing. They play out the night, but you also wake them up before you wake up to show them who their teammates are, but you do it at the end of the night. Other people are like, wait and have them go through an entire day not knowing. That happened to me once when I was Yakuza'd and turned. Or no, I was on the Mafia team. Someone else was Yakuza and turned, and they never were able to give a chance to see who we were, and then they took me out somehow with their old role. They took me out to finish up the night, and their new role took over, and they took out their teammate that they didn't know about yet. So there's this is gonna be a longer vlog if you haven't figured it out already. I'm gonna try to cover everything, but I can't be too long, so I'm gonna keep talking. So it turns out my fellow cop was the one that was turned, and we had taken out so many Mafia. There was only 2 left, the Yakuza and the Godfather, and it turned out the Godfather was sitting right next to my fellow cop, and so he was turned, and he woke up with me. We pointed at Josh because I was thinking Josh. First I pointed at my boss, who was sitting right next to him, who was, it turned out, the Godfather. And he was like, no, that's not him. So I pointed over at Josh because I was suspicious of him as well based on the talking of the moderator during the arsonist time. So I think Josh could be the arsonist. So we do it. She confirms, yes, he's Mafia. He's guilty. Alright, that's all we got to do is wake up and tell everyone, and we can lynch Josh, and the arsonist will be gone, and we'll move on to the next phase. We wake up, I'm dead. The only other person who knows I'm cop is the other cop. And then I'm waiting to see if the Mafia just got a lucky guess or if he turned on me. and he never volunteers the information. We teched out Josh. He was guilty, so yeah. And instead because I was dead, I couldn't say anything. Didn't even think of it. Didn't say, hey, who did you clear or who did you check out this week? Did you clear him or are they guilty? And so he didn't volunteer the information, but they didn't ask him either. And suddenly he was still the cop in their eyes, and there was like no doubt, even though there was a decent amount of reasonable doubt to think he maybe got turned, but they never really went all the way with it and then the game ended basically when he took out one of our more experienced players, leaving the turned, experienced former cop, now Mafia, and two brand new players and one fairly new player. And it's like, how's it going to play out after that? Well, how it played out was they took out, Mafia killed one person, and then he used the other person to take out the third person, leaving it 1-on-1, and Mafia wins. It was frustrating, but it was fun to watch, and it was impressive to see him pull it off. Other games happened. I'm not going to go into too many details, but we played one final game inside, and this is the granddaddy of them all, as far as I'm concerned, was affected by my gameplay. So we're playing, and we don't really know how many of everything we have. He's keeping it kind of up in the air. We have some Mafia, we have some cops, some nurses. It turned out there were 2 nurses, but we didn't know that. And we were playing the majority of the game, assuming there was 1 nurse, we being the Mafia that I was on the team of. So that affected, and it was kind of like an uphill battle because it wound up being 4 Mafia, 3 cops, and 2 nurses, and a Batman, and a Miller, and a Governor. Were all in the game. And we weren't sure if the Fool was going to play, because we played with the Fool in a previous game, and I was able to see someone trying too hard to affect people to think that they should vote him out, because as the Fool, it plays out is that the Fool gets lynched by the town, convinces in whatever way that the town that they're guilty when in fact they're innocent and they're just the Fool. If they get lynched, the game ends and they win. And we were like a hair away from doing that. We were voting for the person that I thought, based on her reactions, was probably the Fool. And there was one person with a gun sitting right next to her, right across from me, and we were all voting. And it was like, yeah, the hands were going up. The moderator, if he'd been on the ball more, could have counted quickly and called it and would have ended the game right there. But I was able to convince, during that time, the person with the gun to kill her. I'm like, do it, don't take the chance, just do it. And so she kills her, and turns out she is the nurse, and we were that close to making a game-ending decision. And the game went on for a while after that. But playing with the Fool changes your strategy and the way you think about the game. It's amazing how much it does. So once the Fool was out, we just changed gears back and finished the game. I don't remember how it finished. I just remember that part of that match in particular. So anyway, back to the last match, the big one. I'm Mafia. I'm the Yakuza, which means I can kill myself and turn someone else. We have 2 Godfathers, it turns out, and they were the last 2 standing alongside me, and it was Josh and another guy who was sitting right next to me. And then our 4th Mafia was the hostess and my boss's wife, but she got outed immediately. He was able to convince everyone that she was Mafia and voted her out, and so she was Mafia. She was eliminated. She was our framer, leaving just the 3 Mafia to hang in there against 3 cops, 2 nurses, a gunsmith, Batman, Governor, and Miller, and the rest of the town. It was a major uphill battle. We managed to hang on and go under the radar for a while. Someone was handed a gun, and turns out there was a gunsmith that just like didn't strike again after that, but we thought there were 2 gunsmiths. And when we took the first one out, we thought that was it because no other guns were handed out. But this one guy was given the gun, and so we're like, we think the gunsmith's gone, let's get rid of the last gun. So we kill him. Batman kills the person sitting right next to him, who turned out to be a cop. And so then we're trying to figure out, is he the only cop? Are there more cops? No cops would come forward, so we thought there were no more cops. Turned out my boss and my sister were two cops that stayed hidden well into the game until after I struck as Yakuza, which should have caused some reasonable doubt in some people's minds when their timing of things happened the way it did. But strangely enough, didn't. It almost did, but it didn't. But let's get back to the task at hand. There's also an arsonist who gets taken out fairly early on, I guess. She wasn't exactly sure what she was doing, but got taken out before she could strike. So again, we're down to just 3 now. We've taken out 1 cop. We think there are no more. We think there's 1 nurse, and we know exactly who it is. It's the guy sitting right next to me to my left, because I hear him making noise during the nurse turn. So we know it's him, and we'd already taken a shot at him, and he saved himself. So we were trying to wait, bide our time, hoping a cop would come out so that he would have to save the cop and not himself. Unbeknownst to us, there was a second nurse, and it was impossible for us to take out the 1 nurse we knew about. It finally worked near the end of the game after I was gone. So everyone's thinking it's Josh. It could be Josh. But then, for some reason, they think of the other guy sitting next to me. It could be him. And Josh is acting paranoid about the fool role. And so they think maybe he knows about the fool, so he's trying to play it up, but he's really the fool, so they didn't want to lynch him. So they wanted to lynch the other guy and then have Batman take Josh out. So they lynch the other guy, and they're going to have Batman take Josh out, and suddenly, right before we go to bed, the cop suddenly goes, and Nathan's being suspicious too, and points at me, and I'm like, oh great, there goes my wiggle room. So that night, as the Yakuza, I struck, I turned, I had lots of choices. I had two nurses, although I didn't know about one of the nurses, who one of the nurses was yet. I could turn Batman, I could turn 2 cops that I didn't know were cops, but I thought they were good choices. I could turn any of them, and I chose this one person, and I struck, and the morning came, I was dead. Josh went pretty quick right after that, and then chaos trying to figure out who this person was. Paranoia, talking it out, figuring it out, and it wound up costing them the nurse that was sitting right next to me in the process, and a day, but they wound up pegging the person I turned Mafia and in the game. But it was close, and it was just fun to watch because it was so much chaos and everyone was so confused. I tried to play up on a rule confusion after I played, after I Yakuza'd myself, and I realized that if Batman didn't or went after me instead of after Josh like they were supposed to, there was a chance that based on a certain rule where if Batman and the Mafia kill the same person, Batman dies. And so since I killed myself and Batman tried to kill me, the question was, did that rule apply or not? The answer was it didn't matter because the 2 nurses, which was revealed at that point, there were 2 nurses, not before that, at that point. The reveal was basically that that the 2 nurses, one had saved the person that the Mafia together went after to kill, which was the guy, and the other one saved Batman from killing themselves because they went after the same person the Mafia took out, which was me when I killed myself to change someone else to Yakuza. I gotta wrap this up quick because I'm almost at 20 minutes. Holy cow. Anyway, cut a long story short, even though I'm making a long story. They wound up taking her out, ending the game, but it was a valiant fight, and it was definitely fun. So I'm going to close out the vlog here. Don't have much else to add. I'm tired. Got to go to bed. So good night, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow.